How secure people react to narcissists. This is the topic of today's video, and honestly, it's going to be very interesting. When people talk about narcissists, the focus is usually on how to identify them or how to protect yourself from them. That's understandable, but what actually makes the biggest difference is actually the response, how you respond to narcissists. So I'm not recording this video to diagnose or label anyone, but the truth is that secure people don't play the game that narcissist people are playing. They just don't play that game. And when you don't play that game and when you don't respond to all of these emotional hooks that narcissistic people are using on you, the whole game changes. Before going any further, I just want to say this very clearly: not every selfish, defensive, or emotionally immature person is a narcissist, okay? We are talking about the repeated patterns. So if you are experiencing someone who has a lack of accountability, entitlement, emotional invalidation, manipulation, and tendency to control conversations or even rewrite events, it's very likely that they are a narcissistic person. But the goal isn't to diagnose if someone is a narcissist or not. It's just to understand how secure people respond when all of these patterns appear. First of all, why narcissistic dynamics hook some people? Narcissistic behavior tends to hook people who are already questioning themselves, people who over-explain, who self-doubt, who just feel responsible for keeping relationships stable. On the other hand, secure people don't have that internal pressure. Their sense of self doesn't depend on being approved of, on being chosen, or being validated by someone else. So if you are a fully secure person, you just don't play that game, and the narcissistic behavior doesn't create the same urgency to fix things or just defend yourself or prove your own worth. And a very helpful way to think about narcissistic behavior is as emotional hooks. It's very simple. So provocation, guilt, flattery, or withdrawal, all of these are ways to pull someone into a reaction, into the reactive mode. They basically want you to react. So if you are secure, you just notice all of these hooks and you just don't grab onto them. And it's not because you don't care or you are detached. It's just because your nervous system doesn't treat every emotional pull as something that requires your reaction. So secure people tend to pay attention to patterns rather than isolated moments, okay? They notice when words don't match actions, when apologies don't come with change, when conversations repeatedly shift away from accountability. Instead of pushing harder to be understood, secure people just pause, they don't do anything, and that pause gives them space to assess whether that entire relationship is actually worth it. When it comes to responding in real time, when narcissist people are just manipulating them during the conversation, as an example, well, secure people address the issue, but they're usually calm and direct, okay? So they state what they are noticing and how it affects them. If the response is defensiveness or just blame shifting, they don't argue to force understanding. They take that reaction as information. And if the pattern continues, they just reduce engagement. They don't play that game, as I said before. Now, what secure people don't do? It's very important because secure people don't try to expose narcissistic behavior or confront it into change, because it's just not possible. Secure people don't chase validation, they don't over-explain their feelings, and they just don't play that game, okay? They don't confuse disengagement with weakness. For them, stepping back is a form of self-trust and not avoidance. And just to be clear, secure people can still feel hurt or confused or disappointed when narcissistic behavior shows up. They are not immune to impact, okay? But the difference is that they don't stay stuck questioning their reality. They trust what they are experiencing instead of constantly explaining it away. So they don't wait for closure from someone who avoids responsibility and accountability. They create closure by just exiting the dynamic and not playing the game. So in the end, it's all about the boundaries, because secure people choose boundaries over arguments and debates. Secure people protect their time, protect their energy and their sense of self. They don't seek revenge, validation, or a final apology to move on. If you are secure, you don't need closure, you just move on with your life. Because in the end, the distance, the reduced access and disengagement actually does the work better than any argument ever could. The main takeaway I want you to get from this video is that secure people don't try to win against narcissists, they simply don't participate in the cycle. And that refusal, that calm refusal to engage is often the most disruptive thing to the narcissistic dynamic. So as an example, if someone tries to manipulate you and they show narcissistic tendencies in their behavior, well, all you can do is to just say, okay, that's fine, I don't want to be a part of it, take care. And that's the best thing that you can do, and it's going to protect your peace. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this quick video was helpful. And of course, if you want to learn more about being more secure, about the avoidant attachment, about the anxious attachment, and generally improving your self-worth, subscribe to this channel because I will be recording more videos about all of these topics. Thanks for watching and see you next time.